right. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Box Office Dynasty podcast. I am Jack.
And I'm Josh.
And we are here for another week of talking movies, talking everything entertainment. Today's a little bit of a mellow week compared to what we usually do. It's going to be nice and chill, nice. If you're driving to work or something and you're listening to this podcast or you're just hanging out at home, it's going to be nice and relaxing, I think. Nice, calm discussion. How you doing, Josh?
I'm hot, Jack. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, you are.
Anyone who's listening, we're two very sexy men on a very sexy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the name of the spin-off podcast eventually.
Dude, there's
a spin-off pod.
There's a magazine that came out with like the sexiest podcasters of 2024, and we weren't on it. Our podcast didn't exist in 2024, but we still should have been there.
but like they should have had the foresight to know it was going to exist.
I know. I think the winners were Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey.
That's deserved.
Yeah. But we got a heat wave going.
So anyone who's listening to this right now, I mean, it's hot, and you're probably feeling it. Here in the Northeast, we are hit with a nasty heat wave at the beginning of summer. So summer's coming in with quite the bang. Where I'm at, it is 90. What was it? Let me
like
pull up
98 or something.
Yeah, it was like 98, 97, 98 degrees.
Fuck that.
Tomorrow is expected to be 99, maybe even 100, triple digits. So,
bro, and we're not in Florida. We're not that kind of East Coast.
No.
We're not in Georgia. We're not in South Carolina.
No.
We're New York. We're New Jersey. We are Northeast. Like, what is happening?
It's absurd. And I was checking it, the weather this morning, and I don't know if it's the same now. I'm pulling it up real quick. It is much hotter here than in Southern California. In Anaheim, it is 76 degrees. Oh, by the way, 76. Look at that. Look at that. It is still showing up. What's up, Brandon? How you doing? We love you, pal. But here it's 97. So
we hope everyone's staying cool out there. And
stay hydrated, stay in the AC. We'll keep you cool on this pod.
We'll keep you cool. We'll keep your brain cool. We'll give you something to think about. Because this episode, we're going to pick a new Bible study number, which means we are picking a new movie from our New York Times 1,000 Essential Movies to Watch. And we're going to pick a new movie to watch, and we'll review it in 2 weeks. And we'll announce that. We're going to, of course, talk about the box office numbers of the week. We're going to have some movie reviews. We're talking How to Train Your Dragon. We're talking Pixar's Elio. We're talking 28 Years Later. All the good stuff. We're going to do a top 10 list later on. And we're going to talk some movie news. Mostly, we got some Marvel news, too. So if you're a Marvel fan, stay tuned for that towards the end. There's going to be some Marvel news that you might want to hear. And then we'll end the episode off, of course, with Seesaw, like we always do. Like, fan favorite. We always end it with that.
Going to be great.
Do we want to just hop into this Bible study draw?
Let's do this. So everyone knows how this goes. Basically, you all commented numbers on our social media posts, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Spotify, anywhere. And we pick it out of, like Jack said, this is the New York Times Book of Movies, the Essential 1,000 Films to See, selected by Manola Darji and A.O. Scott. And we call it the Film Bible because these are just 1,000 of some of the most influential and impactful films critically, or financially or culturally or whatever you have it in history. And so far we did La Adelante, The Great Dictator, and Get Out. And now we're going to draw for our fourth Bible study film.
All right. So odds are I don't even know what half these movies are. So it might be a movie that you guys have never heard of. It might be a movie that you know, just like Get Out, which is what we watched last week. So here we go. Spinning the wheel. And the winner of this week's Bible study is 996.
Oh,
we're going deep into there.
Okay.
996.
Let's both pull it up.
We are watching.
Hold on.
I'm waiting.
Did you get? Hold on. I'm too far into my book. I'm in the actual reviews.
I'm at it. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, I got it.
We're watching the movie titled Shock Corridor in 1963. A 1963 film.
Let's look this up on Letterboxd real quick.
I mean, it's got to have great reviews, I'm sure. All these are like amazing movies, apparently.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Shock corridor. So
All right.
if you're listening to
Ooh.
this, comment a random number, and then in 2 weeks when we pick another Bible study number, we might watch your movie.
So Shock Corridor, 1963, directed by Samuel Fuller, starring Peter Breck and Constance Towers. It is, the description says, with the help of his girlfriend Kathy and Dr. Fong, a psychiatrist, ambitious journalist Johnny Barrett poses as a madman in order to be admitted to a mental institution where a bloody murder has been committed.
Wait, that actually sounds gas, dude.
So
What's it got on Letterboxd?
It's got a 3.9.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Damn,
so
dude. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I am too. This is going to be fun. So 996. I'm not sure who commented that, but we'll look and we'll give you a shout out, and you know who you are though. So 996 Shock Corridor joining the Bible study. That's going to be fun. That sounds like a really, really good movie. I'm excited.
Have you ever heard of it before?
No, and I've actually never seen a film by Samuel Fuller before.
Good.
So this is going to be new territory for us both. Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's our Bible study draw, and I think we'll move on to you taking the reins right now.
Yeah, man. We're gonna let's talk numbers. All right.
Let's love numbers. I actually fucking hate numbers. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's talk math. Yeah, I fucking hate that shit too. But you know what? Like, the thing is like it's just math that you don't like, algebra or calculus or different kinds of, you know what I mean, where it's like, fuck that. But we're talking money and movies, and like there's something
I love money and I love movies.
I love money, I love movies. So I like these numbers. So as you all know, recently Jack and I have changed our schedule. We've gone from filming on Saturdays to doing it on Mondays, and releasing on Tuesdays to now releasing on Wednesdays. I never had like the most recent weekend box office because we were filming during the weekend. Now I do. So we're going to be skipping a weekend just because of this little scheduling change on our end. But that's okay. We'll be
back on track next week.
Well, no, we'll be back on track. We're like on track now this week because these are the most recent box office numbers.
Okay, so we skipped that weekend. Fuck that weekend. We're moving on.
The weekend of June. That's what I'm saying. Fuck the weekend of June 13th to the 15th. Doesn't matter. Even though it was a net positive weekend overall. But fuck that. These are the box office numbers for June 20th to the 22nd. So today, that's the most recent ones. I'm just looking at these for the first time myself. Okay, in fifth place, in its fifth weekend of release, making $6.5 million, is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Know it.
Still holding a spot in this top five, very strong. In fourth place, similarly, in its fifth weekend of release, holding another strong spot, $9.7 million, is Lilo and Stitch. That's fourth place. Interestingly enough, they have very similar drops from their last weekends. For Mission Impossible, it was 37.9. For Lilo and Stitch, 38.3. So very similar. They're kind of tracking well. And also Lilo and Stitch's worldwide total, we've been tracking it on this podcast every week. It is now $910 million.
Ooh, it might not hit.
I don't know. I think I think it can do it in the next weekend. What is it? It's its fifth weekend, I said? Yeah, it's fifth week of release. So I think it could do it.
All right,
it needs less than 100 million globally, and that's an IP that's well established. So that's going to carry, especially compared to third place here in its first weekend in release, coming in with only $21 million is Elio. This is definitely below expectations. I think they were expecting or predicting Elio domestically to come in between $30 and $35 million. It comes in at only $21 million, which is the lowest opening weekend for a Pixar film ever.
I feel like also coming off of Inside Out 2, which made so much money, that is kind of crazy.
But you know what? Inside Out 2 is a known IP.
Yeah,
and that's, I think,
already.
Like this is I think the hypocrisy. There's two factors at play. One, the hypocrisy of the common going audience member who says they want original content but isn't willing to actually go out and see original content because they don't want to spend their money or whatever. You know, they don't know if they're going to like it. 2, it's on the studio, it's on Disney for their failure to actually give any sort of real marketing to this film. Like, Elio kind of just came out. There was trailers, but they were kind of tonally different. No one really knew what this movie was about. They didn't really push it. So I don't think they did enough on their end to get the word out there that this was happening, especially in comparison to other movies that are out, like How to Train Your Dragon or Lilo and Stitch.
I think it's also a distrust of the studios, too, to actually make good original content now. Because I'm kind of on that wave where I'm like, yeah, Inside Out 2 is great. Like, I trust them with things they know, but I'm like, now the newer stuff that they make is just kind of boring. Like, it's not for me.
But, you know, we're going to get into that conversation more when we actually talk about Elio. But it does disappoint me on both the audience side and the studio side that a film that ultimately is a good movie, and again, we'll get more into it in a little bit, but is a good movie, is being failed like this on both ends. It's unfortunate. In second place, coming in its opening weekend of release with $30 million, is 28 years later. So on the flip side, this is a pretty solid opening for a movie like this. And in its second weekend, making $37 million, a 56.3% drop from its opening weekend, is How to Train Your Dragon. Which we didn't cover the last weekend, so I'm going to go back to that June 13th to the 15th, just to see how it opened. And How to Train Your Dragon did open in first place that weekend with $84.6 million, which is a huge, I think that was the largest opening weekend for that franchise. So
yeah,
it is tracking well, even though that is a modest drop for it to 37 million. I mean, it's already made 358 million worldwide, which I think is the most in the franchise, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about that movie. I think we'll just do that in the review.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised that it's making what it's making.
I'm certainly not surprised it's in first place.
No.
So yeah, those are your box office numbers from the weekend of June 20th to the 22nd. And with that, we are going to get into the movie of the hour, and that is How to Train Your Dragon, which is the only movie that we both saw this weekend of the new releases.
I slacked this week a little bit.
You did. But that's okay. It happens. It happens to me. But that's why we're going to get into How to Train Your Dragon. And as you guys know, we always start with some ratings.
Yeah. Do you want to start? Or
I guess I'll start for this one. I give How to Train Your Dragon a 7.2 dragons out of 10. I'll keep it classic.
I didn't know we were allowed to do 0.2. Okay.
Yeah. I'm evolving
something new into the game.
I'm evolving the system. So and I'll get into more. I want to hear your rating, and then we'll actually get into it.
I give How to Train Your Dragon 8 rough nuts out of 10.
Oh, that's a lot of rough nuts.
Those roughs are nuts, dude.
Those nuts are rough, and roughs are nuts, and pretty tough.
Tough nuts.
Okay, so let's get into this. So you liked it a little more than I did, it seems. I think 7.2. I really thought about it, and so this is why I'm introducing it new. I'll start off there. 7 did feel a little disingenuous in the fact that there is actually like nothing wrong with this movie from any sort of technical or narrative standpoint. Like, I'm going to be honest, this might be the best live action remake I've seen.
I think it is.
Which is such a slap in the face to Disney, who's been trying these for years, and DreamWorks, who's not really dipped into this field yet. So, but with that said, I said, okay, so 7.5. It just didn't feel like it to me. Like, I just didn't enjoy it as much as other films that I would give a 7.5. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, all right, that's like a 7.2. Maybe I'd even say 7.25, but I don't know if I want to go there.
7.25, 625.
Yeah.
How many decimals were we allowed to move?
You know what I mean? Just like get really fucking specific with it. So I settled on 7.2, and I said that felt right. Like, this is the highest I can go where I can recognize that they did a good job making this movie, and I respect that. but ultimately, I just felt like it did not live up to the magic and the heart that I felt from the first one. Like it was still a remake. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it was still just a movie I've seen before remade.
This movie shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like there's just I like it when it comes down to it. Why a 7.2? I don't know that I'd ever pick this one over the original.
I would never. That's my problem with it. That's why. So I have like two. It's so hard for me. It's a good movie. Like I enjoyed it. I had a fun time watching it. The highlight of this movie is the score. The music is like the original, fantastic. It's probably the exact same. It's fucking phenomenal.
And that's credit to I think John Powell is who did the score.
It's phenomenal. And the CGI looks great too. I can't discredit that. And the acting is fine, but the thing is like everything is good about this movie, but that's not enough to justify its existence. I will never choose this over the original. I think that it's such a disrespectful or it's a discredit to animation as a medium. I wrote this in my Letterboxd review. Follow me on Letterboxd. I did say that the best part about a live action remake is that it brings new audiences to old stories. Except this is not an old story. This movie came out, 15 years ago? Something like that, the original? This is not an old story. The only reason they're pushing this movie out is because they're like, it's live action, more people will see it. And it's like, that's good, but I don't know, they should just make a fourth animated one. Like, get people to see that. Because I don't like the idea of it's like, oh, if it's animated, less people are going to want to like it. Like, I don't know. I think it's just disrespectful to animation as a medium to be like, oh, it's better if it's live action, so the people will like it better. Not that more people will see it, people will like it better live action. You know what I mean?
Yes. And, you know, I really think that this movie is another in a long line of just IPs being formed because studio executives are too afraid to shoot for the next How to Train Your Dragon or the next Lilo and Stitch or the next Snow White. You know, literally any of, you know, these remakes that have been coming out recently that are known for, you know, being iconic and original. And I think that they're just afraid to lose any amount of money, like any amount of money in their pockets. You know, their prerogative is that it's a business. And I understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand that they're running a business and they need to make money. But you're sacrificing that creative outlook. And I get that, like, you know, they'll say, well, Dean DuBois like wanted to do it and all these things. Like, sure, but ultimately as a studio, you're not making the decision that led to that having How to Train Your Dragon in the first place. Like, you're grasping onto the past. You're not trying to create something new. And like, that's how we get, like I said, the Snow Whites and Lilo and Stitches and How to Train Your Dragons and the Beauty and the Beast and the Cinderellas and the literally everything, like mind-numbingly everything. Jungle Books and whatnot. Like it's depressing. Like that's how I feel about it.
It's a creativity and originality killer to remake these movies so soon. Like, it's the same problem with Moana having a live action remake. What, like 5 years after the second movie just came out? Like, I don't know. I see movies like Snow White and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense why they remake that. That movie came out almost 100 years ago. Like, get a live action remake. I think that's totally valid. I don't consider anything like that a cash grab. But I mean, the people who grew up with How to Train Your Dragon are in their like 20s and 30s, whatever. Like, they know the story, so they don't need to see a live action remake. And the kids that are old enough to see it now, just show them the original. It's only 10 years old. Like, it's not. Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, to your point about bringing new audiences to old stories, that's why I support re-releases in theaters. Right. Look at Revenge of the Sith when it came out, and it was huge. It was a big deal. Everyone went to go see it, and that movie came out like well over 20 years ago. Like, that's how you bring new audiences to old stories. Yeah. Put the old stories back in theaters. Don't remake them. Cheap grabs at more money.
Yeah.
You want to make money, put the original back.
And it hurts me like I don't know. I actually really enjoyed watching this movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I don't hate it, but that's when I was watching it, I was distancing myself from the original. I was watching it and I was like, if I was just going to this theater without knowing the original exists as a movie, solely as a movie, this is a good movie. Like if you watch this movie, you will enjoy it. You will have a good time. But it's so hard to disconnect that this movie shouldn't exist in the first place. So it's an 8 out of 10 on its own, but in reality, it's just I can't even rate it. It shouldn't be here. I shouldn't have seen it. But we did, and that's the reality of movies these days.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing wrong with this movie.
Nothing.
You know, it was well made, and like it's not at the fault of the actors or anything like that. Like, it's good. It's a good movie. But yeah, I just sometimes, going off the point about animation is disrespected as a credible genre and a credible method of storytelling. And, it's looked upon as it's for kids. And that
Right.
is such a narrow-minded viewpoint of animation and its almost limitless boundaries.
You can
know
do
what I
so
mean?
much.
It really is an incredible form of art and storytelling, and I highly respect people who do it for a living. And
One of our best buddies, man. He's in
yeah,
animation.
I love it. And so I think that, when you have a movie like How to Train Your Dragon, and I think that being an animated film, being an animated trilogy, is part of the whole story and the whole experience of it in the first place. There's the sense of like magic with the relationships of the dragons and the humans. I just feel like that doesn't come across as impactfully, for me with the live action, because it's real world and you're sucking that limitless boundaries of imagination that comes with animation. And I just didn't feel that. Like, yeah, I look at the dragons, they look cool, they look scarier. But is that the point of How to Train Your Dragon? Is that
Right.
why they made the animated movies? Because you can animate scary. It's possible.
Yeah, make him look like a Game of Thrones dragon, you know?
You know what I
can-
mean?
yeah.
But that's not what they did. And okay, well, it's DreamWorks, it's for kids. But then you look at the story, and clearly it's not just for kids; it's for the family. So okay, it's supposed to be a family story. It's not supposed to be super scary. That's fine, or super dark, or whatever. But when you remove it from animation and put it into a real world live action form, it loses that charm that comes from animation that I think is part of the whole story in the first place. It just doesn't work the same way. Like if the live action one came out before the animation one, I don't think it would be as popular. You know what I mean? Like I think some people would be like, yeah, it's good, it's well made. I think it would be looked upon as just another movie.
I also don't think that animation doesn't always translate well to live action. Like,
No, it doesn't.
like shot for shot, and you can't make everyone happy. I mean, this movie is shot for shot the exact same thing as the animated movie, and like you'll see something like Lilo and Stitch remake, and they'll change things, and people will be like, "Why the fuck did you change stuff?" And then you'll see stuff like this, which is shot for shot, and people will be like, "Why the fuck didn't you make it better? Like, why? Like, you're never gonna make anyone happy in a live action remake." And some stuff, yeah, it was shot for shot, didn't translate well. Like, there's a scene where a big fat fucking dragon falls on a kid and like sits on him in the animated one. It's like, oh, funny, play for laugh. And in this one, it's the same thing, and it just looks like shit. It's like, how is this guy not dead? Like, I think there's a lot more flexibility with animation. You can have that freedom of being like, these are just animated characters. They can survive this. They can do this. Like, this character can jump this far. This character can run that fast. It could get crushed by a dragon. And it could be played for jokes. But when it's in live action, it's like, how the fuck did this guy survive getting crushed by a 500-pound dragon, probably more than that 1,000-pound dragon crushing this kid? And it's stuff like that. And the way they move too, and the way they talk, it just fits the animation so much better. So like, my main point is just watch the animation. Watch the animated
there
one.
is definitely a believability factor that comes into play sometimes between animation and live action, and just what you're able to seem like you can get away with. So I don't know. It just does feel very disrespectful. And like, I get it was made by the same director and a lot of that, and I think that's why it's the best one because it's the same director. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's what I'll say to that. It's what you're saying about whether you can't make everyone happy. Let's say they make changes from the original, and everyone's going to say, well, this isn't actually How to Train Your Dragon, or this isn't whatever.
Right,
like,
exactly.
this is something else. And then if they were to make it exactly the same, it probably could never live up to the original in pretty much anyone's eyes, because you'd say, okay, well,
Exactly what I'm saying.
it's just a copy. You know what
It's
I
just
mean?
a
Like,
worse copy.
it's just it's just a worse copy of something we've already seen. So I don't think that's so when you say it's like you can't make anyone happy, you're right, but I don't even think that's the audience's fault. I think that's just you can't make them happy because you can't recapture lightning in a bottle twice. It's just not gonna happen.
It's at the fault of the remakes being a thing. They just can't be done.
But the problem is that everyone goes to see them. And I guess you and
Including
I are part
us.
of that because we went to go see it. And I do think there's something interesting about, like, I think a lot of people complain about it, including, we're not the first people to complain about live action remakes. And yet we do pretty much, no, we won't, but we do pretty much always go and see them. Like, I think that, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't always go see them. I did not see Lilo and Stitch. I did not see Snow White. But I don't know. Like we in general as a society do go see these movies and then complain about it.
Well,
And
I think we're suckers.
I just think a lot of it is honestly, I mean, I think a lot of it is just families who take their children to go see it, because it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter to little kids.
They're not as maybe passionate as we are about this.
But and I've said this in the past, just because it doesn't matter to them when they're that little doesn't mean that it won't have an impact on them to have to be offered more original storytelling and in animation form later on.
This is the How to Train Your Dragon they're going to grow up with.
Right. And I just think that that's unfair. They should get their own How to Train Your Dragon. And if we can reintroduce How to Train Your Dragon, maybe even come up with new sequels. But if there's a story to tell, that is. But these remakes, it's just soulless. Like, it's soulless. That's the word I would use.
When I said we were suckers, I meant like you and I specifically are suckers. The reason I went to see this is because everyone was saying it was good. And I was like, you know what? I love the original. How could you not? And they're not going to make a fourth one. They're just not. So I was like, this is my only chance to see How to Train Your Dragon in theaters in any time coming soon, in the near future. And I was like, I gotta capitalize on that. And I heard Lilo and Stitch wasn't as good, so I was like, fuck that. I don't want them to ruin the OG. So, but I heard this was good. I was like, I need to see this because I love the original and this is all I'm getting. So it's kind of like it's the bottom of the barrel. Like, this is what we're getting. This is what I have to see.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was for me too. I wasn't sure that I was going to see this. I had friends who saw it. They highly recommended it. I said, you know what? I'll go see it. I love How to Train Your Dragon. And do I regret seeing it? No, I don't regret it. I just would rather have spent that time seeing something new instead.
We talked a lot of shit about this movie. Is there any, just give me some positives. Give me some positives. Let's get positive vibes in here.
Well, okay. Like I said, it is the best live action remake that I think I've seen. Just in terms of recreating this world and its characters and that story, it does pretty much successfully transfer it over. Yes, it lacks that magic we talked about, but in terms of just a scale and a performance and production, they absolutely nail it.
It's very easily digestible.
Yes. It is fun. It's a fun movie. It does remind you of why you fell in love with the original in the first place. Getting to follow along the story of Hiccup and Toothless on the big screen is great. Like, obviously the scene when he touches him for the first time, it still does have that impact of like, man, I love these characters. I love this story. So yeah, I think they really nailed it. And like you said, the music, obviously, it is the same score. Good. It is the same score from the original, but it reminds you it is a fantastic score by John Powell. And I mean, you know what? I would not be angry if that was competing for an Oscar.
Dude, that would, honestly,
I'm just saying I wouldn't be that angry about it. Obviously it's frustrating because like Hans Zimmer was not qualified for Dune Part 2 because it took parts from the first one, even though he did write new music, which was one of the most ridiculous and egregious snubs in my opinion. So I don't know what that's going to be like with this for John Powell, where it's like, oh, you know, a lot of this is the music from the original How to Train Your Dragon. But I do think that depending on how the scores of the rest of the movies this year are, like, this deserves to be competing to give him a chance at an Oscar this time around.
I saw this question online. Who is cuter, Stitch or Toothless?
Oh, I would say Toothless. Because Stitch is Cupid. Stitch is like a fucking nut. You know what I mean? Like bouncing off the walls. It's like if your cat had cocaine or if your dog had cocaine.
Yeah, and he talks, which is weird.
Yeah, that is weird. You know what I mean?
Just physical, just the way they look.
I think, but I would still say Toothless. Like, I think Toothless is just a big old cutie patootie.
I'm with you.
You know what
He's
I
like
mean?
a big black cat.
Yeah, that's like when I was watching the movie, I was thinking of my cat Leo the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
and they made this Toothless actually cute, like the live action Toothless, but I think the live action Stitch is nowhere even close to as cute as the original Stitch.
Yeah, no, the live action Stitch looks like a little fucking gremlin.
He does look like a fucking goblin creature.
Like, I would not want to be interacting with him at all.
Yeah. No.
So that kind of begs the question then, would you rather have a pet alien or a pet dragon? Like, I feel like dragon's the obvious answer, but it depends on the kind of alien.
If the alien is small enough to fit, like I live in a house, so like I'd pick the alien if he's small enough to live in the house with me.
I guess that you could have a small dragon, right?
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, but if I have a dragon, I want to ride it.
All right. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd want to ride the fucking dragon.
But I don't like having like a sentient creature in like as a pet, like a conscious. Like Stitch is like talking and he like fucking shoots guns and stuff. Like, that's creepy.
But you can have an alien that doesn't, talk and shoot guns.
Yeah, if it was like a pet, if it was actually a pet, I might pick. Nah, fuck, I'm picking a dragon, dude.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It really depends. Like, what if it's like an alien dragon? Then I'm picking the alien dragon.
Shit, dude. That makes
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it's a dragon or an alien, but the alien is also a dragon, I'm taking the alien dragon.
Yeah, of course, 100%. If it's a dragon from space, I'm picking it.
Yeah, I'm taking the dragon from space.
Hell yeah.
Can you imagine flying through space on a dragon?
Yo. All right, I know what we're doing next episode.
What, flying through space on a dragon?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, that would actually be fucking sick.
Yeah, tune in next episode, guys. We're going to space.
Dude, we're going to space on space dragons.
Hell yeah.
So, you know what? That's another positive for How to Train Your Dragon live action. It made us think of space dragons.
Yeah, and that's one of the coolest things that you could think of, honestly.
Like, if there was ever a fourth How to Train Your Dragon and they started doing space dragons, I could do it. I could buy into it.
That's
but
like
it
Fast
has to be animated. Well, yeah, that's like Fast and Furious wanted to do like dinosaurs and cars in space or some shit.
They went to space in one.
I did not see that. I only saw Fast X.
I only saw Fast Furious 7.
Fucking ass.
I only saw the 7th one. You only saw the 10th one. What the fuck's wrong with those?
Too Fast, Too Furious.
So dumb. All right. So I think that's enough How to Train Your Dragon for today.
Yeah. Forever for this one.
Not
for the animated.
Hold
on. I'm gonna fucking close my door.
It's so bright.
I know. I'm gonna fucking close my door.
Go.
All right. I'm curious to see what you'll say this time.
Shake your ass while you walk.
do a little dance.
Let it clap.
Make a little love.
Yeah, get down tonight. He thinks I'm gonna say something? I'm gonna make you fuckers sit in silence. Oh my god, he's shaking ass. God damn. I'm gonna make you sit in silence when I'm here. Deal with it. I love you. I love you guys. I lied. I love you. Oh, what's up, baby boy? I think the audience definitely just turned off their computers and their phones and their everything that they're listening to this on.
Oh man, I'm gonna get like a subpoena in the mail.
Well, your ass, while what I was saying was on there, they're done.
Yeah, well, I had to show off. I had to show the audience what I'm working with here,
and it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And audio listeners, you're lost.
Yeah, honestly, like Spotify is going to hear about this, and they're going to implement video on their platform just so people could see what the YouTube listeners and viewers
they do have
saw.
video now on the platform.
Oh, yeah, but not like a full episode.
I think
like
they do now.
Oh shit! Fuck.
I think they do.
You know what? Because they had the foresight to know it was going to happen, unlike whoever ranked the hottest podcasters.
But this episode is coming out audio only, so maybe we should make like a Patreon or something, but it's like your OnlyFans, and it's just your ass shaking. Let us know if you'd subscribe to that, guys. If you want to see Josh's ass shake.
Yeah,
subscribe to our.
Would you subscribe to the Box Office Dynasty OnlyFans? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll consider starting one. Whatever the people want. You get more of that kind of content.
Yeah. We'll have that over there, and we'll have more movies over here.
Over here, where it's rated PG. Fuck. 13.
Fuck you, kids listening to this. Fuck you.
We're going to talk about. Yeah, and then you can listen.
Yeah.
We're going to talk 28 years later.
Who's we?
We is you and me.
Oh.
Except you're going to say nothing because you've never seen any of these movies before. And Jack's not going to talk for the next 40 minutes of the podcast while I talk about how my week went.
Can I tell you? Can I just tell you the only thing I know about this real quick?
What's the only thing you know about it?
The only thing I know about 28 Days Later is that it starts off Cillian Murphy's full-ass hog is in the movie.
Dude, can I tell you something about 28 Years Later?
Yeah.
There is so much zombie dick in this movie.
Oh my god.
Like so much fucking zombie cock.
What do you rate 28
zombie
Years Later?
Fucking dong. All right, I rate 28 Years Later 9 zombie dongs out of 10. Fucking so much zombie dong in this movie. And you know what I just read today about the zombie dongs in this movie?
They were real?
No, just the opposite. That Danny Boyle, who directs this movie, said that they had to use prosthetics for all the nudity in this film because of child labor laws.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I assume it's because the film stars a child.
Oh, it does? Okay. I thought like the children were making like prosthetic
Williams.
Dicks or something.
No, dude, that
like
I mean, I
the ones,
hope
like,
not.
In the fucking...
Like a weird 28 years later sweatshop just making zombie dicks.
Yeah, like I don't know what that means. Labor laws for that.
I guess labor, like work. So
no,
I guess
know, but
acting.
I guess it's acting.
Acting is work, you know.
Yeah, not when you're good at it. I'm just kidding.
Not if you love it, and then it doesn't feel like a job a day in your life. So 28 years later, I did give it a 9 out of 10. This movie's fucking bonkers, you know? Actually, out of its mind. I saw 28 Days Later for the first time a couple months ago, and I saw 28 Weeks Later, starring Jeremy Renner, where you could talk about it on the Jeremy Renner app, last month.
I missed that app, man. I want to know what he's up to.
Probably a lot of snow plowing.
Oh my God.
But actually, I guess not a lot anymore.
No, never.
Probably hires landscapers now. I don't blame them.
That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, I've heard worse.
Yeah, I've said worse.
Yeah, probably on the podcast.
Probably.
So anyway, but this was crazy. You know, the first movie is good. The first movie is filmed on a camcorder. Came out in like what, 2001 or something like that, 2003, something like that.
Sounds right.
And Cillian Murphy, it's great, but it came out on camcorder. Obviously, looks very funky because of that. And this one, I don't know about 28 Weeks Later. I don't know anything about it other than Jeremy Renner and what happens in the movie.
You didn't see it?
No, I did see it, but I just don't know anything else besides what. Like, I don't know facts about how they made it. Is what I'm saying. But with 28 Years Later, they filmed it all on iPhones. Like the whole movie's filmed on iPhone.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it's crazy. I don't know if you saw any of these like behind the scenes pictures where they literally rig up iPhones, like 20 of them, 30 of them at a time on these different dollies, and the way they were using them to film scenes. So this film is kind of mixed in terms of it's a tale of two halves. Its first half and its second half. And it's really because its first half focuses. So the main character's name is, what was the kid's name? Spike. I couldn't remember his name.
Fucking dog's name.
Yeah. So Spike, it's like a tale of two halves. The first half is like focuses on the kind of relationship he has with his father, and the second half focuses on the kind of relationship he has with his mother. And they're very different tonally, and so I think that caught people off guard, even myself included. But I liked it, and most people seem to have liked it, whereas some people also didn't like that. So the first half focuses with him and his father, who's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and it's really good. It's really high octane, intense action and suspense. So basically, he wants to take his son out. They live in a village isolated on an island, and there's like on a body of water, there's a pathway, and you can only walk through the pathway at low tide. At high tide, you can't access the village. So if you're on the mainland, you're fucked. And I'll tell you this much about 28 Days and Years Later. It's England. Like, it's not the whole world.
That's the only place like infected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At the end of 28 weeks later, they kind of like tease that it gets out, but then, and they kind of retcon it, and they're just like, no, they contain it. And, no one, if you ever even step foot on the island, you're never leaving, like ever.
But does the world know about it though?
Yeah. The world knows about it. Cause in 28 weeks later, the whole movie is about them trying to rebuild England. That's what it's about. And they fail.
Damn, they really said fuck England, dude.
And so when they fail after 28 weeks later, they're like, all right, fuck, like, you know, you're on your own. And so in 28 years later, the first half, it's like focuses on him going out with his son because he wants him to get his first kill of an infected with the rage virus. That's what it's called. And obviously, I'm not going to get into all the details and spoilers, but that's what happens in the first half, and it's really good. Aaron Taylor Johnson's great. Alfie Williams, who plays Spike, is great throughout the whole movie. Really impressed. I'm pretty sure it's his acting debut, certainly in a major film. And it's great. You know, there's so many cool like methods that they go with how they film this, the kill shots. It's almost like a video game. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, that's
the way, because it's the way they like stop and transfer the shot through the phones to get the to show you the angles, almost like it's an immersive shot.
Does it look like shit?
No, it looks great.
Wow.
I mean, to me, I think it looks really cool. It's different. Like when you go see it, it's not anything you'll ever have seen in a movie before on the big screen, so you have to anticipate that. But I think anyone who's seen 28 Days Later knows that this is a franchise that is purposely filmed in a unique, funky way to capture this very high-octane, chaotic environment that comes with the rage virus. And it's a unique approach, in my opinion, by Danny Boyle at capturing an apocalypse and a zombie story. So that's why I like this frenetic movement with the cameras doing the camcorder now, the iPhones, and the way they do these kill shots is so fucking cool, so different. It's like I said, you're seeing a fucking video game play out on the big screen. So the second half, he is it's more focusing on his mother, which is played by Jodie Comer, who, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated actors in all of Hollywood today. Because I think she's one of the best in everything she does. Like the movie The Last Duel that came out. She was so good in that movie, which was Ridley Scott, Adam Driver, Matt Damon. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. She's one of the best parts. Like she's one of the best parts of everything. Earlier this year, I think I talked about it on the pod in one of my seesaws, the movie Help. Where it's like this COVID-19 movie, and she stars in it, and she was phenomenal in that. Like Jodie Comer really is so underrated. In 28 Years Later, she's great too. I don't know if it's like my favorite performance of hers, but she's great. And she's sick, and so she's like not all there mentally. Like there's something wrong with her, and she's very confused. And so her son is trying to find a doctor for her. That being the Ralph Fiennes character, Dr. Kelson, but he was told to avoid him because he's gone insane. He was a doctor long ago, but he's since gone insane.
Is there like a community, or is there like he just had to go out into the wilderness and find a doctor? Like,
so they live in a community.
Oh, okay. Like
I said, isolated from the mainland.
Yeah.
And they go out to the mainland because they don't have a doctor. Apparently, they say they don't have a real. Well, they describe it as like a real doctor. Apparently Dr. Kelson, which is the Ralph Fiennes character, was a doctor before the rage virus started. But when he talks about it with his dad and other members of the community, he finds out that Dr. Kelson's gone insane. or they're led to believe, they've never interacted with him. He lives on his own in the wilderness in the mainland. So he goes to search for him to get help for his mother. And it's a crazy, like, people don't like that half. There's one storyline that goes on. They actually introduce a pregnant zombie, like someone who was pregnant when she got the rage virus.
Someone fucked a zombie?
No, I guess no. Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's like she was pregnant and then the rage virus hit, and or whatever when she got infected.
She's pregnant when she got infected.
Yeah. And they show, like, there's a whole scene where she gives birth, and I think it's like really cool, actually. Just first of all, never seen anything quite like that in an apocalyptic story, in a zombie.
A zombie
story.
gave birth?
And the baby was not infected. And I think they're setting up 2 more movies, and I think this is going to make for some really interesting lore and like really diving into like more of what this virus is, how it works into these next films, as well as they're going to dive into the different kinds of communities that have formed, a la the way The Last of Us did. So this is written, by the way, these movies are written by Alex Garland, who directed... He directed Ex Machina. He directed Civil War. He directed... What else did he do?
Maybe
that
baby's
Warfare. Like... Warfare just came out this year. He did so. He
maybe
writes
that baby's
these.
Like immune, you know? Like maybe
that could be that could be really an interesting story they go into with the second one.
And then you have to impregnate all the zombies to get like
but she was pregnant when she got infected. What I don't know if you could. You cannot impregnate one of these.
You probably could.
No, I can't. Nobody could.
No.
These things try to kill you like immediately.
Whatever, dude. You're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I could change her. I could change her.
Yeah.
No, I know you thought I was.
I don't know, you fucking weirdo.
No, I could change a zombie. I could make her love instead of hate.
It sounds good, dude.
Yeah, I thought it was really sick. And obviously the big question on everyone's mind is, Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy was not in this movie, but he is apparently going to have a larger role as the trilogy goes on. So
is he in the second one?
In 28 Weeks?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. So he was only in the first one.
He's only in the first, but they say he's going to appear in the second and have a large role in the third.
I wonder if he's going to show Dong again.
Yo, that'd be crazy.
Is he willing to show Dong this time?
Is he willing to do it for another Oscar?
Maybe.
Second Oscar is going to require Dong.
Maybe, dude.
But they'll probably have to use prosthetics, right? Because of the child labor laws.
Probably, yeah.
So, I don't know that he can really, like, show Dong.
Damn,
the big 25.
Being
robbed of Cillian Murphy Dong. So, but anyway, that's 28 years later. It's nonstop action. It's great acting. This is good stuff. I think this franchise is aging well. It's like fine wine. So that's where I'm going to leave it at. I think like 28 Days Later is good, but it's not my favorite, but it's good. I respect it for what it is. 28 Weeks Later, I think is underrated. I don't think it's as bad as people make, but it's not as good. And 28 Years Later is the best so far, in my opinion.
Your ranking is years, days, weeks?
Yes, years, days, weeks. And no, I'm not crazy. I know how time actually works, but in terms of movies, years, days, weeks. Apparently, so 28 Years Later was like a movie that was in development hell for a long time. And apparently the original like version of this was going to be 28 months, and it kind of evolved to 28 years.
They should have done 28 Seconds Later as the first one and just been like, holy fuck.
It's just a short film. Yeah, it's just a short film where it releases and the first person starts raging and they're like, shit. And it just cuts to black.
Just the doctor who like releases the virus just drops him and goes, oh, fuck.
And then it cuts to 28 seconds later and then it's just him screaming with the rage virus. Like, wah! Like, and then that's just it.
Why don't you make this? Why don't you get in contact with them?
I should just, does anyone out there have Danny Boyle or Alex Garland's email? And if so, send it my way so I can pitch them the short film of 28 Seconds Later.
Yeah.
It's just like me with my phone, just shaking it while someone's screaming.
Shaking it. And honestly, I'd watch it.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't? 28 seconds. 20 seconds is a long time. All right.
It's too long, honestly.
It's too long, honestly.
Speaking of things that I would watch, something I didn't watch, Elio.
Yeah, but would.
But would.
Yeah, like I would watch this, but I didn't. You know who did watch Elio? I did. I watched some Elio. I got into it. I dipped my toes into the Elio. Elio is the new Pixar movie out in theaters. It's funny, we were talking about space dragons earlier with How to Train Your Dragon. Here's a little bit of the space on the space dragon side of that. Elio is about a boy who just doesn't feel like he quite fits in at home. His parents have died, and he lives with his aunt, who, by the way, I thought was voiced by America Ferrera the entire movie, and then the credits was rolling, and it said Zoe Saldana, and I was like, what?
Really?
I was I thought that was America Ferrera.
Confusion.
I don't know why I thought that. For some reason, I thought I read somewhere that it was America Ferrera, so I didn't, double check again. Then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like America Ferrera. Then it said Zoe Saldana, and I was like, shit. Oh. Whatever. Anyway, so that's besides the point. Semantics aside. And so he lives with his aunt, and she works on a military base, and so she's kind of overwhelmed, and he just doesn't feel like, he fits in anywhere. He gets bullied, and so he wants to be abducted by aliens, and ultimately finds aliens. They respond to Voyager. Actually, that's the story. So they respond to Voyager. And they send a message back, and Elio finds the message because it comes to the military base and they don't believe it. And then Elio responds and they take him, and he finds what's called the Communiverse. So anyway, this movie I gave a very solid 8 Glorgins out of 10. Glordins, actually, excuse me. Glordins out of 10. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was a really good movie. I don't think Elio reaches the narrative heights of its prime, Pixar movies. But to me, this was another good story. It had heart. It hit all the right notes. I really enjoyed it. It definitely left an impact on me. And that's why when we're talking about the box office numbers, this deserves better. This deserves better than people ignoring it. It deserves better than its own studio ignoring it. It deserves people to go watch it. It's a fun outing. There were kids and there were teens and there were adults in my theater. It was a Sunday mid-afternoon, and everyone was having a good time. And I was enjoying myself. It's a good story. I think my biggest problem with Pixar right now is it's not even animation as a whole umbrella. It's the animation of their human characters. If you look at The Incredibles and you compare it to the way they animate humans now, they're all the same. If you look at Turning Red or any of their recent films like Luca, stuff like that, they're all these blob kind of almost lazy
There's a name for
characters.
I forgot what the name was. It's that style of animation.
Really?
Look at Coco. Coco's different. Coco's got its own unique style, and I love it. And yeah, there's a name for I forgot what it's called, but there's an actual name where it's just they look like this weirdly deformed human, because they don't even look really human. We just know that they are.
Yeah.
Their heads are massive. They have giant chins.
And especially because Pixar's been doing more human stories lately than they ever did back. And in those prime times, the joke was always oh, they make us feel for toys, they make us feel for bugs, they make us feel for cars and shit.
They make us feel for feelings.
Feel it, yeah. But lately, like I said, Luca, I guess, is sort of a human story, and then Turning Red, sort of a human story. Sure, there's a fantasy element to it, but it's the human characters. And this Lightyear is a human story. And now this Elio is a human story. Sure, there's aliens, there's a fantasy element, but it's main characters are humans, and all the designs are really starting to just blend together, and it's kind of lazy. And I think that turns some people off a bit from Pixar than from when they used to. And sure, Pixar's had a couple duds, but that's what I'm saying. If they could just go back to this more original approach to each film, having different styles of animation. Yeah, they can be human characters. They can still be human characters and 3D animation and still be different designs. They don't have to all be the same.
Too. Look at the humans in Inside Out 2. They look fantastic.
They look different.
They don't look like fucking freaks.
They don't look like little blob characters. So that was the one thing with Elio. I was watching this and I was I don't really like how the humans are animated. But it's not even the entire animation, because the aliens and space, like, it looks great. Like the shots of them in space flying with the stars and the planets, it's great, you know. And I thought a lot, actually. Like, they also have like scenes where he's actually being abducted, like the UFO is there and the light comes in. Do you remember the old Pixar short Lifted?
Yeah.
I was watching this and I was like, this definitely served, like, that definitely was like served as inspiration.
Really?
For what well, you know what I read about Pixar at one point in time is that apparently a lot of their shorts are actually them serving as practice for their features in terms
that's
of
cool.
design and stories and different things. So when I see them do, like, Lifted came out, let me pull up my list real quick. Let me look it up.
Ago.
Lifted came out. It's an older one, 2006.
Yeah.
This movie came out 19 years later. And so definitely, though, I'm sure when they were doing Lifted, they're like, someday we'll want to do something that involves UFOs. And even 2 years later was Wall-E. So they definitely used it as a blueprint. And I think even now, 19 years later with Elio, a short in their vault like Lifted, it was like, okay, this is kind of a starting point for how we can do this kind of animation and design, and also this kind of story with aliens and abduction and space. So I thought that was a cool little shout out. I think, like I said, the characters are great. The voice acting is great. Brad Garrett, Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond, he has been in like quite a few different Pixar films at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just like looking at that. It's actually kind of nuts. So Brad Garrett is in Elio, and he's also been he was in A Bug's Life. He was in Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, and Finding Dory.
Really?
And for Disney, he was in Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph too. But that's Disney.
I can't even place his voice as any of those any characters in any of those movies.
Oh, I remember who in A Bug's Life. He's the fucking the Dim. He's Dim. I had to check.
What the hell's Dim?
Here, this guy. I'll show you a picture. So if you're listening again, man, you really lucked out if you were not watching on YouTube this week. But this one, this guy right here.
Oh, the fucking dung beetle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
So anyway, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it deserved a lot better. And we're going to talk a little bit about Pixar right now as a whole. Yeah. And just about how, like, where Elio fits in for me, and we're going to talk about our top 10. So that's our list for today. It's going to be a little bit of a transition. We're talking our top 10 favorite Pixar movies. And I think, just as to get into that, like, Elio, for me, like a lot of movies coming out for Pixar, like, it falls in this range of, again, it's maybe not one of like the greatest they've come out with, although some these days still are, but like, this is a good movie. Like, I think maybe I feel like Pixar gets held to these standards, and rightfully so. They've set for themselves.
They set a high bar early on.
They did, but Elio is still good. So there's been, I think this is all of them, 29 Pixar movies. How many do you have on your list on Letterboxd?
The only one I actually haven't seen 3 Pixar movies. Well, including Elio 4. So I have 25.
So I have seen all of them then. So out of 29 Pixar movies, Elio is 18th.
That's not good, dude.
But think about how...
there is peak. Pixar has peaks.
Think about how many incredibly peak films they've had since then.
Well, let's hear your top 10.
Okay, so I'll go top 10.
So this is your top 10 Pixar movies of all time, including Elio. Well, it's not in your top 10, but
yes, but this is after seeing Elio. In 10th place is the original Toy Story. It's obviously an iconic film, truly stands the test of time, and just because it's in 10th place should not like say anything about it, because we're talking about Pixar here.
Yeah,
like, Toy Story is a beacon of film.
I will argue with you after you're done with your list.
In 9th is The Incredibles. Just a fucking great movie. We'll get into more of it when we hear both lists. In 8th is Ratatouille. In 7th it never used to be this high for me, but it is now, is Up. Being older, that film has really resonated with me in different ways that I didn't appreciate when I was a kid, which goes into the argument where I was saying that you may not understand or appreciate it as a kid, but when you give kids movies that have nuance and meaning, like Up, they will grow up to understand it and appreciate it. In sixth place is the newest release that I have in the top 10, which is Soul. And this is proof that they can still make fucking fantastic movies, Pixar. That Soul, to me, was like the love letter from Pixar to our generation. We can get more into it in a bit. In fifth, so top 5, fifth is Finding Nemo. Love it. And fourth, the best Toy Story, Toy Story 2.
Let's fucking go. I was waiting for it.
That is the best Toy Story for sure. In third place is Monsters, Inc., which has been number 1 on my list at one point. In second place, which has also been number 1 on my list at one point or another, is Coco, which is great. You know what's great about Coco, why I love it so much and glad I loved it? I remember when they first announced it, I was 16 or like 15 or something. I remember being like, that doesn't sound like it's going to be good. And I was not excited about it. And this is what I mean. I gave it a chance. It was an original film. It came out, and it ended up for a long time. It's always been in my top 5 for sure. Has been my favorite at one point. It's number 2 at this point in time. It is honestly one of the masterpieces of Pixar. And in first place, their magnum opus, in my opinion, is WALL-E. Because I don't think it's just a good kids movie. I don't think it's just a good animated movie. I don't even think it's just a good movie. I think this is one of the most important movies of the 21st century. I would go as far as to say that. Okay. And so that is my number 1 film.
Okay. There's a couple surprises on your list. I'm just going to do mine first.
Do yours and then tell me what was a surprise.
I'm more surprised of stuff you don't have on your list, I guess.
Okay.
All right. So
like Elio.
Number 1. Yeah, I'm not surprised. All right. So my top 10 Pixar movies of all time. Starting off at number 10, I have the first Cars. I've never seen Cars 2 or 3. I think
Wait, what's the last one then that you haven't seen? You haven't seen Elio, Cars 2, Cars 3. What's the other one?
And Turning Red.
Okay.
So I have Cars at number 10. Number 9, your favorite, I have WALL-E. I think WALL-E's great. Is number 9. I just think everything above this is better.
Okay. All right. You talk.
These are all, I think, from WALL-E and up. I think Cars is like a 4.5, 4, yeah, like something like that. WALL-E and up, everything is 5-star movie. Honestly, Pixar has hit the mark with like 9 5-star movies for me. That's pretty fucking good. Number 8, I have the first Toy Story. And then right on number 7, I have Toy Story 3. I was shocked you didn't have Toy Story 3 on your list. We can get into that in a little bit. Toy Story 3 is, I think, has the most emotional scene of any Pixar movie. That shit was making me sob. Number 6, I have Coco. You love Coco. Number 5, I have Up. Probably, I mean, the first 10 minutes, people say like, oh, that's the only good part. The whole movie's fantastic, but the first 10 minutes are just next level.
Are you kidding me? The scene when he is going through the book of the things that she still wanted to do, and then
amazing.
he felt like he was regretting it, that he couldn't give her the life she seemed like she wanted. Then he got to the part where it was things that we did do, and he got to see that she really lived a life, and he got to that message where it's like, thanks for the adventure, now go have another. That is, to me, one of the most I've ever cried at a Pixar movie personally. Like, that scene is fucking next level.
I take back what I said last 5 seconds, that Toy Story 3 has the second most emotional scene, because I think the first 10 minutes of Up when Ellie dies is the most emotional thing Pixar has ever done. Then in number 4, Finding Nemo. Classic. I mean, it's just fucking amazing. Number 3, the best Toy Story movie, Toy Story 2, reaching the top 3. I think I like it because it's a big focus on Buzz. I think Buzz like gets a chance to, because in the first one he's not really part of the group. You know, him and Woody are enemies, or Woody really just hates him. And I think the friendship that you see for Buzz and Woody in the second movie is just phenomenal. Like, I love seeing their friendship. And of course you get that in the rest of the movies, but seeing those two together for the first time is just pretty special.
And also, you know what, with Toy Story 2, while you say that, I think it's the best blend of comedy and drama and like emotion of the Toy Story movies.
You're genuinely scared for the toys.
You're genuinely scared. it's maybe not like the scariest situation they've been in. Obviously, that's like Toy Story 3, but it's still, you're generally scared. And obviously, you get introduced to Jessie and her backstory in the scene with her kid is so sad. And there's so much comedy, though. Obviously, the stuff with Zurg and everything. Like, it's just the best blend. It's just about, I'm going to play catch with my dad. Like it is the best blend in both of our opinions of Toy Story, which might be a bit of a hot take by some people, but I don't know.
I think a lot of people think Toy Story 3 is the best one.
Probably 1 or 3 would always get the vote, which is valid.
But my top 2 Pixar movies are pretty interchangeable recently. But as of now, I have number 2 at Monsters, Inc. and number 1 is The Incredibles. Both are so good, dude. I think, first of all, the originality of Monsters, Inc. is insane. Like, who came up with this idea that the monsters are the good guys and they need scares and screams to power their city in an alternate dimension, and they go through world-traveling doors into your closet? Like, what a fucking phenomenal, idea. And then The Incredibles is such a unique take on the superhero genre. I think, having these retired parents of a superhero family, like showing them in their prime and then showing them retired and they want to get back into the field, and one of them is done with it, one of them wants to get back in. I think it's such a unique take. And it reminds me of kind of like the Sokovia Accords from Captain America Civil War. It's like superheroes are banned at this point. You remember that? Like the guy tries to jump off the thing and Mr. Incredible saves him. Superheroes are banned. And also, I think The Incredibles might be one of the darkest Pixar movies. I mean, they literally say on this big screen when Mr. Incredible's watching it, it shows his friends, fellow superheroes, terminated. All his friends are dead. They're being killed by this giant robot that Syndrome created. It's fucking dark. He finds a skeleton of his buddy that was at his wedding, Gazer Beam. You remember that when he opens up the thing? That Cyclops knockoff guy? It's actually really dark. Some guy tries to kill himself and Mr. Incredible saves him, and then they get into a legal battle. It's fucking insane. So that's my list.
You know what's interesting?
Topping it.
We both had each other's number 1 at number 9.
Really?
You had Wall-E at 9, right?
Well, so what I'm surprised about your list is that you didn't have Toy Story 3.
All right, can I tell you the films that I have in between Elio and the top 10?
Sure.
I'll just run through them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go, so Elio's 18, so I'm going to go 17 to 11. Inside Out 2, Turning Red, Toy Story 4, Cars, Toy Story 3, Luca, Inside Out.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to have.
So Toy Story 3 is 13th. It's obviously a phenomenal end to the franchise. It has some of the best scenes. Yeah. But when I look at the 2 movies between that and the top 10, Luca and Inside Out, to me, they were just a little bit better of just well-rounded stories on their own. Like Toy Story 3 is a great end to a trilogy. But for me, revisiting a singular movie like Inside Out or Luca, I like it a little more. I like the Luca animation, I think is great. I know it's the beginning of that blobby that I was telling you, but it also the stuff they do on the ground with the mermaids and the different sea monsters, fucking sick. And Inside Out with the feelings, Inside Out is, I know that your hot take is you don't love that movie.
I don't even like it.
But Inside Out is a phenomenal movie that really dissects parenting and growing up and the idea of how we feel and how we kind of control our own emotions and how they manifest in our lives, and how they evolve and develop, how our own emotional maturity evolves and develops. And it's just such a great story with great characters and great voice acting. And it's so unique and the worlds. The one thing about Elio that I really liked that I didn't say was I love where it takes us. This idea of the universe and communiverse and these different planets, and they introduce them called the Blood Wars. It's really cool. I love that Pixar can take us to these new places, and that's what Inside Out does. The Dream Factory and these different islands and stuff. I just think it's such a bold film from Pixar. So that's why I would have those above. And then as for the top 10, I just think I would take Toy Story over Toy Story 3.
I wouldn't.
Toy Story is a better movie, in my opinion. Toy Story is way more iconic. Toy Story 3 has more emotional nuance, but Toy Story, it's the foundation of that, and it's it's what makes
I
Toy
think
Story 3.
I get so
so
enraged watching that movie. I'm like, fuck Woody, dude. I don't like feeling like that way about the protagonist. I'm like, he's acting like a
But
fucking
it's
asshole
his,
the
yeah.
whole movie.
Well, he grows. His character's growth from Toy Story to Toy
I
Story
know, but
4
he's so
is
irritating in
remarkable.
the first one.
I love the whole stuff with Sid. You know, it's iconic.
Well,
The scene
so
at the gas station.
Do you think Toy Story 3 has a top 3 Pixar villain? Like, is Lotso top 3 Pixar villains? Because Pixar doesn't have a great lineup of villains.
I mean, probably, but I don't know.
Like
I'd have to
Lotso's in
really
the conversation.
think about that.
Syndrome is in the conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe Randall or one of
Randall is definitely in the conversation. I would also put the Prospector in the conversation.
Prospector's good too. I don't even know who else is like a villain. But I guess that's one of the best parts about maybe the fucking steering wheel from WALL-E. I don't like
or even like fucking Anton Ego.
Who's that?
That's the critic in Ratatouille.
Oh, really?
Like, just because he's also very he's like a complex kind of character in terms of a villain. But that's the thing. Like, when you think about a Pixar movie, it's not so much like us versus them. And like, I like Toy Story because it's more of that classic story of that, archetype. But it's really, in most Pixar movies, it's you versus circumstance.
It is. Well, Charles Muntz, don't forget about him.
Yeah.
Up.
Like
it really is.
In Up, you're dealing with grief and, loss. And WALL-E, we're dealing with environmental issues and preservation.
A lot of them find themselves stumbling into situations where there is no real villain. It's about the environment and the world around them, which is a really great concept. But I do think, like if you look at DreamWorks smokes Pixar in the villain category.
Yeah, but does DreamWorks really smoke Pixar in the story category? And
that's a conversation for another day, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
Well, if whoever's if you're listening to this,
DreamWorks,
tell us what you like better.
DreamWorks doesn't have quite the nuance and like the emotional.
You love
depth.
that fucking word, dude. You love that word.
It's just been relevant the last 2 weeks.
You said it like 8 times in the last 2 episodes.
Because it's been relevant. We're talking about emotional layer.
All right, let's start a counter every time.
There should be a nuance counter. There should be, but it's true because we're talking about, like I said, emotional layers and narrative depth. Well, no, that's what nuance is like emotional layers, and Pixar films have that because, like I said, they more often deal, like DreamWorks are more of these fantastical kind of stories, whereas Pixar films are very much more about the human experience. And yeah, they can have fantasy elements. There's superheroes. We're dealing with, talking feelings and talking cars. But like, that's why I think Soul is one of the, like, I'm not surprised it's on your top 10. I'm curious where it is.
It's number 14.
Like, that feels kind of low to me. Like, I look at Soul and like that's the most raw and real Pixar film they've ever made, because that's Pixar's, like I said, love letter. Like, that's them kind of showing us that they grew up with us, and this idea that all their stories have culminated to us growing and maturing and becoming the best versions of ourselves that we can be. DreamWorks is fun. DreamWorks has emotion. DreamWorks has ding ding nuance, but it just doesn't have it to that same level that Pixar has overall. When I look at the catalog of films in DreamWorks and I look at the catalog of films, like, what are some of the best DreamWorks movies? The Shrek films, the How to Train Your Dragon films, the Kung Fu Panda films.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the best one.
It's great. Yeah, that might be one of the best in this conversation, but do those really live up to the Toy Stories, the Wall-E's, the Cocos, the Ups, the Finding Nemos? I mean, look at the opening scene of Finding Nemo, where he has to take care of his children. Like, I just don't think DreamWorks makes me feel as wide a range of emotions as Pixar has.
I think you're right. I don't know. I mean, I just look... You're right. You're right. In that sense that you just said is right, in my opinion.
Like don't let the nostalgia of DreamWorks...
I know.
I love DreamWorks. This is not a knock on DreamWorks.
No, because I'm thinking about like Kung Fu Panda 2 is very emotional. Like the guy who killed his family. But like it doesn't come close to like...
But they're not
the scenes
telling...
from Up or Finding Nemo or from Coco. Like the saddest scenes from those don't even... Yeah, I don't know.
like I said, it's about the story they're telling. Like in Soul, he's trying to get a second chance at life. It's about finding purpose. It's about appreciating the little things. Wall-E, it's about taking care of the environment, preserving the world. We need to appreciate it, not, taking that for advantage, not being lazy, not being closed-minded. Monsters Inc. is about, trying to find the good and trying to, be able to make people laugh and smile and choose positivity over negativity. And Inside Out is about emotional complexity. Even your favorite, The Incredibles, is a film that's about, trying to recapture your sense of spirit and purpose in the world, and trying to, find equality, and purpose for groups of people. Like Pixar movies are that complex, are these complex narratives that DreamWorks just is not necessarily. Yeah, in my opinion, I guess.
Pixar has this special magic that DreamWorks hasn't been able to capture.
And DreamWorks has strengths in other fields, but
of course,
in this regard, like Pixar, I think is the stronger of the two.
Well, I think we should move on.
Oh, well, one last thing. What's your least favorite Pixar movie?
Should we do the bottom 5?
Bottom what? You cut out.
The last 5 Pixar movies.
Oh, yeah, okay. Bottom 5. Let's do bottom 5. Just run through it real quick.
So, I have Toy Story 4 is, out of the 25 Pixar movies I've seen, Toy Story 4 is number 21.
Okay.
Then I have Lightyear at number 22, Finding Dory at 23, the first Inside Out at 24, which is my hottest take, and The Good Dinosaur in last place at 25.
If this gets clipped, there's no way you don't get some fucking heat for that in the comments.
For the Inside Out?
Yeah, for Inside Out.
Yeah, dude, that movie fucking sucks. I loved Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is like my 12th favorite Pixar movie. Inside Out 1 is 24. Fuck that.
And Inside Out 2 is great, but it's not better than Inside Out 1. All right, so I've seen all 29 Pixar films. So this is 25 to 29. 25th is Lightyear. 26th is Cars 3. Yeah. 27th is Brave. It's just not a Pixar movie. 28th is The Good Dinosaur. You've seen The Good Dinosaur? You haven't seen The Good Dinosaur.
I've seen it. No, that's my last place. I've seen it.
Oh, that was your... Okay. And then in 29th is Cars 2.
Yeah, I know. I can't get myself to watch Cars 2.
It's not very good.
So Cars 2 and The Good Dinosaur. I'm sure it would be my last place if I saw it. That's like the Thor: The Dark World of...
It is. That's actually so facts. It really is the Thor: Dark World.
Everyone's like, this movie fucking sucks.
Of it. Yeah, it does. So...
well, speaking of Thor: The Dark World, let's get into
that's a good transition.
Rapid fire news that I just wanted to bring up real quick. Some Marvel talk. So I guess I'll start with Jake Schreier, director of the Thunderbolts, is officially confirmed to be directing the first X-Men film in the MCU. How confident do we feel about that?
I mean, I think it's deserved because Thunderbolts was a good movie, but I understand that there's been people online who said, well, Thunderbolts was a financial, I don't want to say failure, that's harsh, but it was not a box office success for Marvel. No. So, do they want to hand the keys to such a big IP like X-Men to Jake Schreier? But ultimately, money is money. People might not go see a Thunderbolts movie. They're going to go see an X-Men movie. I think he deserves this opportunity because Thunderbolts, I don't think the expectations were really there for it, and it proved a lot of people wrong. It proved me wrong. So I think he deserves this opportunity.
X-Men's going to have crazy high expectations, but Jake Schreier, these characters are established. They're not established in the MCU, but everyone knows about them, and it's very clear that Jake Schreier can handle a team movie. There's some directors that might be, not be able to balance that many characters at once, and Jake Schreier has confirmed that he can. Thunderbolts was great. It was a great ensemble cast, and I'm not mad at that news. I'm not mad at it at all.
No, I wasn't mad at it either. I think it's a good choice, especially when you look at the directors that Marvel kind of has at their disposal at the moment.
Right, like Russo's aren't doing it.
No. So like
And
this,
who else would they get?
I mean, there's Matt Shackman who did Fantastic Four. There's John Watts if he wants to come back because he did the Spider-Man movies. So like,
well,
there's
he
a
bailed
few,
on
but,
Fantastic Four, John Watts. So I don't know if
yeah,
he'd come
but
back.
maybe he would come back down the road. For X-Men because that's further away. I
Maybe
don't know, but
the guy who the Shang-Chi director, I think he's
Daniel Destin Cretton.
Cretton. Yeah.
Cretton.
He's doing Spider-Man Brand New Day, so maybe
and he's doing he was actually originally going to do, they were at one point talking about him doing some of the Avengers movies. I think he's doing the Wonder Man thing for them.
Is that still coming out?
Yeah, I think it is. So
wow. There's been no news about that.
I mean, I as far as I know, it's coming out.
All right.
But so I was not upset about this news.
And the next thing I wanted to mention, another Marvel related thing, which is I have a little bit more to say about it, is that Jon Bernthal has been officially confirmed to be joining the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Jon Bernthal, of course, plays the Punisher in the Daredevil series and in the Punisher series. We just got news last week or 2 weeks ago that the Hulk was also, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is going to be in Brand New Day.
Well, that wasn't confirmed yet.
Not that one's not official.
I have the confirmed cast list so far in front of me for Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's
Go ahead.
Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Sadie Sink, Jon Bernthal, Liza Colon-Zayas.
Yeah, people...
And probably Mark Ruffalo, but...
Probably. So for Jon Bernthal, I feel like this is kind of a Deadpool situation where, like, how do you fit them in a non-R-rated property? Like, how do you do Jon Bernthal's Punisher when he's beating people to death, he's breaking bones, he's got blood all over him in every scene he's in? How do you do that in a Spider-Man movie? Maybe he'll just be a cameo. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't confirm a cameo like this, though. Or he's not going to be the Punisher we love, but I guess we could understand why. So it's not like we know the behind-the-scenes deal is that you can't get a rated-R Punisher in a Spider-Man movie. But I don't know. What do you think about his involvement?
I mean, they made it work with Charlie Cox. So I don't know how large of a role he's going to have. I don't think it's going to be that large of a role in the movie.
But Charlie Cox has like a 1 minute screen time in that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little longer than that.
I think so too.
But I think it's going to be like he needs the Punisher to help him get from like point A to point B at a specific part of the film, kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Like he helps him fight his way out of something or, something like that. I think it's a really cool story, though, for the actors because Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal helped each other with their auditions for Spider-Man and Punisher originally. Like they go way back.
And they're both in the Odyssey coming out.
Yeah, I was going to mention that next. They both have 2 movies coming out in July of 2026, The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan and Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that's going to be really cool for them. Oh, and Zendaya, I guess too.
Oh, I
That's
forgot
3
she's
of them.
in the Odyssey too.
So Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jon Bernthal all have the Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out in July of next year. I think that's going to be really cool.
It would be cool if like Spider-Man was hearing about this vigilante like killing people in New York City, and like he tries to stop him, and then he realizes like the Punisher's good or something like that. I don't know, but
maybe this is how he gets a connection back to Matt Murdock, where he like sees. So he's seen Matt Murdock, so now maybe he'll see.
Yeah.
Because Matt Murdock doesn't remember Peter Parker anymore.
Right. He just knows. He probably just knows Spider-Man, but he doesn't know.
But he met Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't remember him now, but they might meet again as,
Spider-Man.
Like it'd be funny because he'll recognize. What if he like sees his identity? He'll remember him, and he'll be like, I don't know who you are, but Peter Parker will remember him.
Something I don't like actually that you just reminded me of is that Zendaya and Jacob Batalon are going to be in this movie.
I don't mind it. Them. I mean, it depends what kind of role they have. I don't want them to have large roles.
I need context.
I don't mind that they're still around because let's say there's a new Spider-Man trilogy. I don't mind that they come back into the fold by the end of the trilogy somehow. If the story's there, the story's there.
Right, but in the first one, if they get their memory back in this movie of Peter Parker, I'm going to be pissed.
I am too, unless it's like at the very end, like a kind of almost like a cliffhanger.
Like I would actually not mind, like in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he's supposed to ditch Gwen Stacy and he just watches her, like just to make sure she's safe. I wouldn't mind if he did that with them, and that's why they're in it. He's kind of like overlooking Zendaya and Ned and MJ.
Yeah.
in that kind of context. But if they become anything more than like quick cameo, quick characters, then it's gonna take away from the last movie.
They probably will, and I don't know that it will take away entirely from the last movie. Again, it depends on how they do it. You know, but I think that I would be okay with. I don't want them to get their memory back in this movie, like I said, unless it's at the very end. But like if it's by the end of the trilogy or something, or it's like almost like part of them still kind of remembers just because of that pure connection. Like they don't know why they feel that way, but they feel like they have that connection.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind that.
I think like there are ways that I think they can do it, but we have to see.
It's fucked up, but I just want to see Peter struggle alone for a minute, you know?
Well, we're finally seeing him as like a self-actualized Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like for the first time.
I'm very excited.
So,
and I love John Bernthal, dude.
Yeah,
he is so talented.
We've talked about this before. He is one of the best in everything that he does.
He makes every project he's in just so much better.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited I am excited to see this collaboration between him and Tom Holland, and also just Spider-Man and Punisher like team up on.
Yeah, I like that a lot better than Spider-Man and Hulk for this movie. Like Spider-Man and Punisher, that's pretty sweet.
It makes sense. It makes more sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
So, there's one piece of news that wasn't Marvel that I wanted to get to this week, just because this is a franchise starved for an update. Absolutely starved. It's been 4 years since its last movie with no real reboot in sight, and that's James Bond 007. From late 2022 to the end of 2024, I once a month watched every James Bond movie. Like I would watch one, so I've seen all of them, so I'm a fan, and I really do like this franchise. A lot of it's kind of mid, but the best of it is really good. So obviously James Bond's been up in the air. The Broccoli family, who's produced it since the Sean Connery days, lost control to Amazon. So now there are directors who are lining up to take over control of the James Bond franchise. And there are some big names who are throwing their hats in the ring, who want to take over 007. So, you hope that Amazon will find someone suitable to put in good hands. And these are names like, these names. And I will say this before I say the names. 007 won't be cast until a director's picked and a script is written. So similar to the Texas Chainsaw, I want to know which director you'd be most that would get picked, that would most intrigue you to go see a James Bond movie in theaters.
Okay.
The first is Edward Berger. He did All Quiet on the Western Front, and more recently he did Conclave. Okay. The next is Denis Villeneuve. He is responsible for Dune. He's responsible for Blade Runner. He's responsible for...
That's how you pronounce his name?
Villeneuve, something like that. Yeah, he's French.
Oh, okay.
He's a French guy. So, the Dune guy. The next one is Edgar Wright. So he's the guy who did... Edgar Wright, he did like Baby Driver.
Superbad.
He did, Superbad. The next one, the brother of Christopher Nolan and the creator of Westworld, Jonathan Nolan.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Who has written, I think he collaborated with Christopher on some of his movies like the Dark Knight trilogy and things like that.
Okay.
And the last one, this one's the weirdest one. Paul King, the guy behind Paddington and more recently Wonka.
Yeah, no, he's out. Paul King is out.
So which of these directors, these are some pretty big names that are throwing their hat into this ring. It does go to show that I don't think James Bond is dead. I do think the interest is there for creatives. We'll see about audience, but creatives still want to play in this playground.
I love Denis, but I feel like he's more like sci-fi. And I don't know if
Well, no. He did Prisoners. He did Incendies.
He did Prisoners?
He did Prisoners. Like, he can do the grounded stuff, too.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think I'm going to take Denis out, though.
Okay.
I'm between Edgar Wright and who's the first guy? What was his name?
Edward Berger. That's the guy who did Conclave.
I mean, Conclave was kind of like this. It was almost like a spy thriller at that point. Like,
in a way.
Like he had this information that he was trying to get and that people knew secrets. Very secretive. If we could get that in a James Bond style, but if we can combine Edgar Wright's like Baby Driver with Ed Berger's what is it, fucking Conclave, like
Yeah,
That
but
would
he
be the
also
perfect
did,
movie.
and he also did the All Quiet on the Western Front, which has a lot of these like bombastic war scenes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I saw that.
I think with Edward Berger, we've kind of seen both sides, where it's like he can do these big, high scale action sequences, and he also can do these like intimate
Yeah.
spy, like kind of narrative scene
And he's great
and
at a one
relationships.
take.
Yeah, he
He's
really
great
is.
at a one
And his
shot.
cinematography, like the people he gets to help him with his shot selections. Like the one thing I felt about Conclave throughout the Oscar race is it ultimately did not get enough love for its cinematography.
Yeah. I think I'm picking Edward Berger.
Interesting.
Who would you pick?
Well, I thought you were going to pick Denis or Jonathan Nolan.
Yeah, Denis. I had to think about Denis for a while. I don't know. I love Dune 2, but
That's
I
what
wasn't
I
really
thought.
I'm big on Dune 1.
Yeah, but I mean, Blade Runner, Prisoners.
I never saw Blade Runner.
Arrival,
Prisoners.
The one thing Denis is the best at of these 5 directors is scale in terms of like his
100%,
sets.
100%.
The scales on his films are remarkable, and his depth of field. But I'm surprised. I did think you were going to say him or Jonathan Nolan. I thought you were like, well, it's Nolan's brother. He's a great writer. He did The Dark Knight. He helped write Dark Knight. He did Westworld, so I wasn't sure you might go with, the Nolan, the blood, the lineage. But
he's got the name, but
he's got the name, but Berger is a great choice. I mean, Denis is my favorite director of these 5.
Right.
So I'd probably say him, but I will say there are other movies he has lined up that I want to see first, including Dune Messiah, which is currently filming or about to start. And little side note story, did you see the Batman 2 is slated to start filming right after Dune 3 finishes?
No,
they
I didn't
have
see
a
that.
hard deadline for the script, apparently.
They better speed it up.
James Gunn was like, everyone shut the fuck up, like this movie's
Get to
getting made.
work.
Anyway, but that's a little side note. So Denis, I want to see Dune Messiah, and I really want to see his Cleopatra movie that he has planned. And so I think I'd rather see those from him before a James Bond movie. But if he did announce James Bond, that'd be cool. So after him, I'd probably say Edward Berger as well. Because so far, from what I've seen from him, he did All Quiet on the Western Front, 10 out of 10. Conclave, like a 9.5 out of 10. Really fucking phenomenal. Even the show, that show I talked about a little bit on here, Your Honor, starring Bryan Cranston. He directed the first couple episodes of that, and then was an executive producer the rest of the time. So he had a huge hand on that show, and it was really great. So he's impressed me in everything I've seen him do so far. So like if they told him take James Bond, I would trust him. Edgar Wright would be really cool too, though, because obviously we know he's capable of that like fast-paced action.
He's got a good resume.
He does Baby Driver, Superbad, Last Night in Soho. So lot of great options, but the hope is that following the Daniel Craig era, we'll get some positive news moving forward in this franchise soon.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our final thing of the day, and that is
Seesaw it up. Yep.
That is Seesaw. We always end with Seesaw.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah.
I think I went
you
first
started
last
with your
week.
Pixar list. I'll start with the Seesaw. I think I might have done this one already, but I'm just gonna do it again because it's so like I'm just so excited. Something I really want to see is Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm so excited for the new Jurassic World, and I have a lot of hope for it. Which is maybe misplaced, misguided, but I still do. And I love that franchise. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. And speaking of that, I actually rewatched not all, I'm still working on it. I'm on Jurassic World right now. But the original 3 Jurassic Park movies I rewatched, and that's my Saw for today. Because I do want to say Jurassic Park 3 is not as bad as everyone says. It is top 3 Jurassic Park movies. I think it's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park 3. It does have the stupidest scene of all time. When Alan Grant wakes up on the plane, looks to the left, Velociraptor's next to him, and he speaks English, okay? I get it. It's a stupid dream sequence that they have. It's stupid. The Spinosaurus is easily the coolest dinosaur in the entire Jurassic Park series. Cooler than the Velociraptors. Cooler than the T-Rex. He's scarier than all of them. He's bigger than all of them. He is awesome. and it's got some great set pieces, some great sequences. The giant bird cage with the pterodactyls. We've never seen something like that before in the first two. We get in the third one. We get the Spinosaurus chasing them through the fence. We get the Velociraptors cornering them all because they have the eggs. The Spinosaurus on the boat, and he's drowning them. Dude, it's awesome. I don't care. It's stupid. It's also a half hour shorter than every single Jurassic Park movie, so it's like a quick watch. It's, first of all, every Jurassic Park movie has the most annoying kid in it, except this one. This is the only kid in these movies that is capable. This kid survived on the island on Isla Nublar for 8 weeks by himself. The kid Eric, he's William H. Macy and Taya Leone's son in the movie. He survives for 8 weeks. He saves Alan Grant's life. He has a jar of T-Rex pee, and he doesn't tell us how he got it. Every kid in every movie irritates the fuck out of me in all these Jurassic Park movies, except for him, and he's just one of the many, many positives. Jurassic Park 3, I Will Die on That Hill. That movie's awesome.
It is definitely better than The Lost World. Which I still think is Steven Spielberg's worst film that I've ever seen.
So do I. That's exactly what I have on a Spielberg list, and he's last.
Because some people would say, what about Indiana Jones and Crystal Skull? And I'm like, nah, this is worse. But I personally, we have almost the same identical list with Jurassic Park. I also rewatched the Jurassic Parks and Worlds over the last couple of months, anticipating Rebirth. So my number one is Jurassic Park. And this is not my solve for today, by the way. But yeah, mine goes Park, Jurassic World. The only difference is I have Fallen Kingdom 3 and Jurassic Park 3 fourth. Just because I like the scene with Isla Nublar getting destroyed and like the dinosaur getting left behind and everything, like things like that.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, like there's just a few scenes in that movie that really stick out to me, and I love like the way the dinosaurs look. They have come such a long way.
It does have a Spinosaurus, that's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe in Rebirth.
The new one shows 3 in the trailer. Yeah. So that's also why I'm so excited. 3 Spinosauruses? What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
So, all right. My saw is I just finished season 3 of Reacher.
Oh,
and I think it was the best season of the show so far. Not by like a lot, but I think it was slightly better than season 1. It is the most serious season. It's very gritty. The stakes are the highest for Reacher. My only complaint was that sometimes I think he made decisions that I was like, his character, and I will concede to the point that, he was in a high stress situation with Zachary Beck and obviously trying to chase down Quinn. And so I get it, especially that he was being undercover and all this stuff. But like, still, it felt like Reacher's one of the smartest guys, and he was making good decisions at times. But other times it was like, Reacher, what are you doing, buddy? Like,
yeah, it was very emotional for him though. With
but
Dominique,
the one thing for me is like last season should have been just as emotional for him then, because it was about his fucking squad, which we always hear about in every season.
Right.
And yet this season was about a protege we didn't hear about until this season. And like, but I did like his relationship with Richard, and I thought it was a really good story. I love Anthony Michael Hall. He's iconic. Breakfast Club iconic. So like, seeing him in this season was really cool. I'm excited for season 4. Did you see Joe Biden was at the set of Reacher?
I did
season
see that.
4?
I actually did.
That was so funny. I love that.
And they're making a spin-off series, Neely.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that's what they were filming at the Cubs game.
That's such an Amazon thing to do. That's why people didn't like when they got control of James Bond, because they're so worried about these spin-offs. And it's not like a diss to Neely as a character. It's just that they're unnecessary. Like, you don't need a Neely spin-off. Her whole point is like what we get her in Reacher. Like, or with James Bond, you don't need a Moneypenny spinoff or some stupid shit like that, like a Q spinoff. It's unnecessary. Like, so I mean, the Cubs thing, that was cool to see as a sports fan.
Yeah, that was Neely season 1.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was just Reacher season 4. I didn't like. I don't.
I'm
like
surprised you thought season 3. I love season 3. I love the undercover stuff, but I have my ranking season 1, season 3, then season 2.
No, I think 3's the best. I think just the tone was so like. It's the first time in this show that I actually felt Reacher might not be able to get out of a situation, even though you can expect him to, because it's gonna be another season and whatever. I'm watching this. You got like Paulie's like so much bigger than him, and like
7'7" or something.
He's fucking stuck in this really bad situation. It's like you do wonder how's he gonna get out of this. In the first 2 seasons, it's like, all right, he'll get away, he'll find a way. But like this season, I was like, I'm not sure. So that's why I think it's like slightly my favorite. But yeah, so I watch Reacher, and my C is another TV show. So one comes to an end and another new season starts. This week we are getting season 4 of The Bear on Hulu and FX. I am so excited for this. I love The Bear. It was one of my favorite shows of the last few years. It's gotten so much recognition, so many accolades for a reason. Jeremy Allen White is great in this role as Carmy, and I'm just so excited. We're talking about John Bernthal. Here's another John Bernthal performance. He comes back. He plays Carmy's dead brother in this show, and he serves as such a lot of the like emotional inspiration for what goes on in the transformation of the beef into the bear, and it's just so great. I'm just so excited. I know people were a little disappointed with season 3. They felt that it didn't move the plot enough. I disagree. I think it really helped move a lot of the emotional arcs for characters. Maybe the overall narrative didn't move too much that season, but I think the characters really did to an extent. And I'm very excited to see season 4 because I really think we're going to be blowing this whole thing wide open. This is one of my favorite shows on TV right now. If you're not watching it, you should be watching it. And season 4 is coming out, and I'm very dearly excited about it. I think it's going to be one of my favorites of the year again, which will be a very interesting conversation when we get to. Last thing in this episode, speaking of Jeremy Allen White, did you see the Bruce Springsteen biopic trailer? I forget the name of the movie. He sounds just like Bruce Springsteen.
He does.
It's crazy. I read something where apparently Bruce was like listening to it and couldn't tell the difference between himself and Jeremy. I was like, oh no, that's crazy. If it's real, like, I'm just saying Jeremy Allen White's got the Emmy, could be coming for the Oscar.
I was going to say, look out for that Oscar. Timothy Chalamet is going to be pissed off that he didn't get his, but...
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, we're rooting for Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, but it's a long year. The Academy loves these biopics. Obviously, we have the Michael Jackson Part 1 coming out at the end of the year, but like, yeah, Jeremy Allen White's coming for it, and he looks really good and sounds really good in this movie. So, Jeremy Allen White, The Bear season 4, and now the Bruce Springsteen biopic. What a year for him! What a year! Yeah, I'm looking forward to all this.
So look forward to all our reviews. You know, we're gonna be watching these movies, watching these shows, reviewing them. We're gonna wrap up this episode. So. Yeah. Make sure to follow us on all platforms. We're on everywhere you can find your podcasts. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Box Office Dynasty. Find us on Letterboxd, you know, at Jack Maloney, at...
Joshua, what is it, Joshua Marshall?
What's the fucking thing?
I don't even know what my Letterboxd handle is. Oh, yeah, it's Joshua Marshall. Just look at my name.
At Joshua Marshall. Yeah, follow us on Letterboxd. Follow us on anything. If you're listening to this, give a follow, give a like, comment a Bible study number. We're always looking for new numbers to put in the rotation so we can watch and review some random ass movie that we've never heard of. Anything else you want to say, Josh?
Well, on that front, be on the lookout for Shock Corridor. We'll review that in 2 weeks. Speaking of Bible study, and yeah, follow us on any platform. You know, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, all that good shit. We got a lot of good content coming out. We got a big summer of blockbusters. We'll have more guests on in the future. We're gonna do more segments, all good stuff. So
we love you guys. Whoever's listening, whoever made it this far, we love you. Thank you for listening.
Tatooine, play Binary Sunset.
Yes, sir. Goodbye. Oh, fuck, I fucked it. I can't end it.